is where I'd recruit them from.
Here at Epstein's Palm Beach home is where much of the alleged abuse took place. According to court documents, as far back as 2001,
the structure behind me is the main building on this island, and it has hosted American politicians, world dignitaries.
All right, brace yourself for this one because things are about to get explosive. You know that feeling when a scandal breaks and suddenly the whole world is in a frenzy? Timelines flooded, comment sections on fire? Well, this one might just blow everything out of the water. Imagine this. Hollywood is in panic mode. Whispers are turning into deafening roars, and some of the most powerful names in the industry are scrambling for cover. Why? Because Jeffrey Epstein's notorious list has resurfaced, and this time, it's not just the usual suspects caught in the storm. Oh no, we're talking arrest warrants, shocking revelations, and a public ready to burn it all down. Strap in, because this rabbit hole goes way deeper than anyone ever imagined.
This is Jeffrey Epstein, multimillionaire, hedge fund manager, businessman with famous, powerful friends, and also convicted.
For years, the public has been fascinated by the mystery surrounding Epstein's so-called list. You've probably heard about it. An alleged exclusive guest book filled with the names of high-profile individuals linked to Epstein. Some dismiss it as a simple record of acquaintances, while others suspect it holds something far more sinister. The catch? No one has ever seen the full list. It's like a mythical artifact everyone is desperate to uncover, with its secrecy only, fueling speculation year after year. But now, thanks to Attorney General Pam Bondi's much-anticipated release of documents, the controversy has been reignited. And let's just say, people aren't happy.
I want to get into this Epstein thing a little bit. I think the American people are very curious about who's on this list, or these lists. You have been doggedly trying to get all the information. And now we learn, thanks to you, that you've been stonewalled by people in New York. Do you want to explain that?
Bondi, known for her no-nonsense approach and controversial decisions, seemed convinced she was dropping a bombshell when she unveiled what she called Phase 1 of the Epstein files. She even went as far as distributing binders labeled declassified to a group of influencers and activists at a White House event. Sounds dramatic, right? Well, here's the kicker. The binders contained nothing new, just rehashed, already public information. No shocking revelations, no explosive details, just the same old material that's been circulating for years. Needless to say, the move backfired spectacularly. The reaction, a mix of outrage, disappointment, and an avalanche of memes.
Just for the record, you've been on his private plane.
Yes.
You've been to stay on his private island.
Yeah.
But let's rewind for a second and talk about why this list is such a big deal in the first place. Epstein wasn't just some random guy with a private island. He was a powerful financier with deep pockets and even deeper connections. We're talking about links to politicians, business tycoons, and A-list celebrities. His lifestyle exuded extravagance and exclusivity, and he surrounded himself with people who thrived in that world. So when his dark secrets came to light, one question dominated everyone's mind. Who else was involved? Who knew what was happening behind closed doors? And most importantly, who's on that list?
The list mentions around 150 people, including politicians, celebrities, friends, business associates, and alleged victims.
This is where things get murky. For years, rumors have swirled about a so-called black book or client list, allegedly filled with names that could shake the foundations of power. Some argue it's nothing more than a record of people who crossed paths with Epstein, while others believe it's a detailed account of his inner circle and their activities. And then there are the infamous flight logs from his private jet, often dubbed the Lolita Express. While parts of these logs have been made public, they've already caused an uproar by linking high-profile figures like Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Prince Andrew to Epstein's world. But the real question remains, how much more is still hidden? And who else might be implicated?
Field office. He was forced. He didn't just bounce. He was forced to retire because they accused him, Pam Bondi, and all them, because he's hiding thousands of Why would this guy, an FBI agent, because mind you, Kash Patel's in, I think there's a misconception, Jillian, that people think that all the people that are in all of a sudden switched and now they're pro-Trump and they're pro this agenda, and that's not the case.
Fast forward to now, and Bond's so-called moment of truth turned out to be anything but. People expected bombshell revelations, names, details, something that would finally bring clarity to the mystery. Instead, a pile of redacted files, and recycled information. Talk about a letdown. But here's where it gets interesting. Bond insists this is just the beginning. She claims the FBI is sitting on a massive stash of additional documents still under review. More names, more revelations, more transparency. That's the promise. The real question, can she actually deliver? Or is this just another calculated stunt to keep the public chasing shadows?
There's a number of things that could be redacted. The first thing that you're going to be thinking about is confidential information as to survivors' names, addresses, and other identifiers. Redactions can be as specific as that, or they can be generalized. And you're usually either working under some type of confidentiality agreement, some type of statute, some type of code.
Meanwhile, the internet is in a frenzy. Social media is exploding with theories, speculation, and plenty of finger-pointing. Some are convinced the list includes Hollywood's biggest stars, while others are laser-focused on the political fallout. And then there are those who believe the whole thing is just a carefully orchestrated cover-up to protect the elite. One thing's certain, the public isn't letting this go. They want answers, and they won't stop digging until they get them.
That means those same people are still in charge and they're still protecting each other. And James Comey's daughter, guys, you guys all remember who James Comey is, the Trump-hating, Hillary Clinton covering-up guy. His daughter is the assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, where all these documents are. So as much as these people are promising us, I still, Vincent Oshana, don't think it's still gonna...
What's really fanning the flames is how some celebrities are reacting. A few are coming out swinging, fiercely denying any connection to Epstein. Others are staying suspiciously silent, likely hoping the outrage dies down. And then there are those stuck in the middle, dropping vague, carefully worded statements that only spark more questions. It's a PR disaster, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Because in today's cancel culture, even the slightest whiff of scandal can be a career killer.
All these higher-ups, there's footage of them. And the fact that it's not going to see the light of day shows you how powerful these people are. The phone calls that are being made saying, don't you guys dare put that shit out, because guess what? Your friend, your brother, your whatever.
And let's not forget the FBI's role in all of this. The agency has been under a microscope ever since Epstein's death. Still one of the hottest conspiracy topics out there. Many believe the FBI knows far more than it's letting on. Even Bond herself has accused them of withholding crucial information, and she's not alone. The growing distrust has people wondering, is the government protecting certain individuals? Because if this list is as explosive as some claim, it could send shockwaves through Hollywood, politics, and beyond. Adding to the chaos is how Bond's document release landed. Or rather, how it flopped. Her own allies weren't impressed. Trump supporters who expected a bombshell felt betrayed. Even far-right figures who usually back Bond didn't hold back their criticism, slamming her for the lackluster reveal. And the reaction from the left? Let's just say it wasn't pretty. For once, it seems Bond has managed to unite people across the political spectrum, just not in the way she hoped. If nothing else, disappointment is one thing everyone can agree on.
I would have to say that it's unlikely. It's unlikely because what that means is that there's going to be an untold number of systems and institutions and powerful people that are going to be disrupted and are going to be, for a figurative term, dethroned.
But despite the backlash, Bond isn't backing down. In fact, she's doubling down, promising that the next phase of the release will be even bigger. Whether she can actually deliver remains to be seen, but one thing's certain, the pressure is on. The public is demanding accountability, and Bond's reputation is hanging by a thread. Will she rise to the occasion, or is this just another case of too little, too late? As the world waits for the next shoe to drop, the stakes couldn't be higher. The potential fallout from this list is staggering. Careers on the brink, reputations at risk, entire industries shaken to their core. And at the heart of it all are the victims, whose voices have too often been drowned out by the media circus surrounding Epstein. For them, this isn't about headlines or viral hashtags. It's about justice, accountability, and finally bringing the truth to light. So here we are, on the edge of what could be one of the biggest scandals in modern history. The suspense is suffocating, the tension unbearable, and the questions endless. Who's on the list? What does it reveal? And most importantly, what happens next? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. And just when you thought the Epstein saga had hit its peak, another layer emerges. One that drags in some of the most powerful, seemingly untouchable names in entertainment. Buckle up, because things are about to get a whole lot messier. Somehow Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z have found themselves tangled in this web of controversy. People are connecting dots, piecing together links that even the biggest skeptics can't ignore. Are these just separate scandals, or are they pieces of the same puzzle? That's the question on everyone's mind. And if the rumors are even half true, we're about to witness a storm that could shake the industry to its foundation.
This is the first time that I'm speaking about it. Something that I'll never forget.
Now, let's talk about Sean Diddy Combs. For decades, he's been a kingpin in the music industry. Lavish parties, untouchable status, and a reputation as a powerhouse mogul. Diddy has always been larger than life. But lately, his name has been making headlines for all the wrong reasons. And we're not talking about quiet whispers or internet gossip. This is full-blown chaos. Disturbing allegations have surfaced, accusing him of orchestrating behavior that's nothing short of manipulative and horrifying. And let's be real, the timing couldn't be worse. With Epstein's connections still under intense scrutiny, people are beginning to wonder, could Diddy's name be buried somewhere in those infamous files? It wouldn't be the first time he's found himself at the center of controversy. After all, this is the same man who was caught up in a high-profile nightclub incident in the late 90s that kept the media buzzing for years. So now, as new accusations swirl, it's no surprise that people are starting to connect the dots between his past and the present scandal.
He was responsible for Diddy's day-to-day life, so he is able to provide a lot of information about what that life was like. He goes into detail on extensive abuse.
Diddy's scandal isn't unfolding alone. Jay-Z is now in the mix. Despite his untouchable status, lawsuits are piling up, and one even ties him to a 2000 party where Diddy was allegedly involved. Coincidence? Maybe, but people are questioning if there's more to the story. Both men have responded differently. Diddy's team calls it a smear campaign, while Jay-Z fired back, accusing the plaintiff's lawyer of extortion, stating, "No, sir, it had the opposite effect. I will not give you one red penny." But the bigger question remains. Why are these accusations surfacing now, just as the Epstein fallout dominates headlines? Is this chaos random, or is someone pulling the strings?
Good morning, Michael. At this point, we've all probably heard about these infamous parties. Diddy's assistant now giving us details about what he says were called Wild King Nights.
These aren't just baseless accusations circulating on social media. They're full-blown legal battles. Multiple plaintiffs have come forward, detailing incidents that allegedly span decades. One of the most shocking claims involves a woman who says she was just a teenager when she was lured to a party under false pretenses, where both Diddy and Jay-Z were allegedly involved. According to court documents, what happened next was something no one should ever have to endure. Whether these claims will stand in court remains to be seen, but with multiple individuals sharing similar stories, it's becoming harder to ignore.
A lot of times you have him with a younger female, and there's a power dynamic there. A more impressionable girl is easier to reel in. Consent is between the people that are engaging, and I wasn't there in these situations to understand the consent.
Things get even murkier when you spot the eerie similarities between the allegations against Diddy and Jay-Z and the whispers surrounding Epstein's list. Both scandals involve accusations of manipulation, exploitation, and using wealth and influence to cover up wrongdoing. And the power dynamics? Uncannily familiar. Both men have been accused of silencing accusers through intimidation, just like some of the high-profile names tied to Epstein. It almost feels like there's a playbook for this, one built on the belief that money and power can make anything disappear.
In the moment, it just felt like, what? Like, is this fun for him? Is this like a test?
But here's the thing. The public isn't buying the silence anymore. Social media has made people more informed, more vocal, and more relentless in connecting the dots. Some theories may be a stretch, but others are hard to ignore. Take Epstein's flight logs. While there's no confirmation that Diddy or Jay-Z were passengers, the mere possibility has people talking. Epstein's circle was packed with politicians, celebrities, and business moguls. Is it really that far-fetched to think they might have crossed paths with him?
So we've got actually some interesting stories. We're going to lead off with what's going on in that Jay-Z case, which we thought went away. We thought the woman who accused him of rape with Diddy after the VMAs, I believe back in 2000, had dismissed her case, and you thought it would just go away. It is not.
What's even more intriguing are the whispers of overlapping circles, exclusive parties, private islands, and high-stakes gatherings that have been rumored for years. Some alleged attendees had ties to both Epstein's world and the entertainment industry. While no concrete evidence links Diddy or Jay-Z to Epstein's infamous gatherings, speculation is growing. As industry power players, they would have been prime candidates for such elite social circles. After all, these events weren't just about indulgence, they were about networking, influence, and maintaining the secrecy that protected everyone involved. If even a fraction of these rumors are true, the implications could be staggering.
Let's start with Jay-Z. So, remember, the woman who sued as a Jane Doe dismissed her lawsuit with prejudice. She said, I will not be refiling this, but a dismissal with prejudice is just that. It's a document that says, I dismissed this lawsuit. It says nothing else. It doesn't say I lied about the claims. It doesn't say anything. It just says I dismissed the lawsuit and won't refile it.
Adding to the intrigue are other high-profile names surfacing in lawsuits and testimonies. Sources claim that a well-known celebrity, whose name remains redacted in legal filings, was allegedly present at an incident involving Diddy and Jay-Z. Could this person also have ties to Epstein's circle? It raises the possibility of a far wider network than anyone first suspected. The entertainment industry has always had its share of closed-door dealings, but this pushes things into far, darker territory. And as more names trickle out, it's becoming harder for those involved to hide behind the glitz and glamour that once protected them from scrutiny.
Jay-Z is now saying, the allegation you made against me, you picked the wrong one. And I'm going after you hard. I'm going after you for extortion. You sent me a demand letter and said this would all go away if I paid you a bunch of money. You defamed me in public.
But he's right. We do know that because before Jay was even named, when Tony Busby said he was representing victims of Diddy, he said that there were some high-profile A-list names, and if they didn't pay up, basically he was going to reveal who they were, and then he announced Jay-Z. So,
adding to the drama is how notably silent both men have been about Epstein. Sure, they've denied the allegations against them, but when it comes to the broader scandal, they've stayed eerily quiet. And in the world of public relations, silence can be deafening. It almost feels like they're trying to distance themselves. But in doing so, they're only fueling speculation. People want answers, and the more they avoid the topic, the more suspicious it all looks.
She hasn't sort of retracted the allegation she made against Diddy, but according to this, she never made them against Jay-Z without the prodding of Busby. This is a pretty devastating document if it's true.
It is interesting now because Jay-Z obviously is going after Tony Busby and could decimate him because Jay-Z does have a lot of money. They were right about that.
Then there's the issue of timing. Why are these lawsuits surfacing now, years after the alleged incidents took place? Some believe it's because the climate has changed. Movements like Me Too have empowered more people to come forward. Others suspect something more strategic might be at play. Perhaps a diversion tactic, shifting attention away from the Epstein files by creating a new scandal to dominate the headlines. It's a compelling theory, especially when you consider how quickly the focus has shifted from Epstein to Diddy and Jay-Z. Is this just a coincidence, or could it be part of a larger effort to shield the real power players? Whatever the case, one thing is clear. The world is watching. From courtrooms to Twitter threads, people are dissecting every detail, searching for the bigger picture. And while it's still too early to predict how this will unfold, one thing is certain. This story is far from over. Whether through legal battles, leaked documents, or whistleblowers stepping forward, the truth has a way of coming out. And when it does, it could reshape everything we thought we knew about the entertainment industry and those who run it.
It could be a disagreement regarding defense strategy, it could be a conflict, it could be a health issue, it really could be anything, and the paperwork doesn't identify it, nor should it. And the fact that Mark Agnifilo is still on the case and the other counsel of record leads me to believe that the judge is going to rubber stamp this motion.
So, here's the million-dollar question. Are Diddy and Jay-Z simply caught in the crossfire of unrelated scandals, or are they part of a much bigger puzzle that leads back to Epstein? And if it's the latter, what does that say about the power, structures shaping Hollywood, politics, and beyond? One thing's for sure, this is a story you'll want to keep an eye on because the twists and turns are just getting started. Stay tuned because the next chapter might just blow this whole thing wide open. dust settles on these shocking revelations, the questions keep piling up. Are the allegations against Diddy and Jay-Z somehow connected to the Epstein scandal? Or are these just separate storms colliding at the same time? If there is a link, how deep does the rabbit hole go? The public is demanding transparency, and the pressure is mounting. Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and see if we can unravel this mystery together. Until next time, stay curious and keep digging for the truth.